Hey guys, I'm back. I'm Emily Gear. I'm a multidimensional channel, twin flame healer, and a transformative energy healer. And I'm back a little quicker than I expected with another message because the energy is actually making me feel a little sick if I don't get it out. So I'm not really sure where this message is going to go, but just hang on. So, the first thing I'm going to go to is that some of what I was talking about yesterday and what we're going through now, not surprisingly, has to do with, they keep talking about it like calcification, the breakdown of things that are in some sense calcified. Now, this might literally have to do with your physical body, looking at the minerals you're intaking, looking at your bone structure. You may be having issues there. You might not be getting enough. You might be getting too much. But what I'm really seeing is things like it's all the way from the physical to the spiritual level. It could be like the minerals in hard water. I don't even know what they're trying to show me but they're showing me calcification. And primarily, we are talking about on the spiritual level, because what it is kind of these old, like almost like barnacles that are part of an old structure. And for so many of us, this is either thought forms, thought patterns that have gone on throughout lifetimes. And I won't stay too long on this, guys, because I realize this is what I talk about all the time. But they are showing it to me in a different way, almost like classical columns, almost like the breakdown of a classical form of structuring things. So whether that is down to the way that you think about things in your life, the way that you prioritize things in your life. I know we've talked about priorities recently. The structure of your day, the structure of your family, the structure of your job situation, the structure of our economy, the structure of our government, the structure of our world economy, our world relationships between governments and or simply government, because there are very few people who have all the power, as you may or may not know. And that there is a real trimming back right now, and an actual it starts with a sweeping out between the cracks, and then it is going to be a much larger scale breakup. I'm almost seeing like these visions of like Atlantis, where the water crashes in and breaks apart these stone columns, these stone buildings, these stone stairs, like really seemingly immovable things. So whether that's reality or a metaphor, to me, because of what I'm going through, I can only sort of see it through my own lens at the end of the day. And for me, there are these sort of seemingly immovable thought patterns or belief systems, which I don't actually believe are immovable, but they feel very big and they have been very challenging to get outside of. These are definitely being broken down now, and that is why this really intense time. It feels a lot like I don't know if you're familiar with an Iron Maiden, sort of a medieval torture structure where it like just tightens and tightens and tightens and tightens on the physical body and just pushes you further and further and further until the structure of the body breaks down, right? Well, that's a terrible image for some of the energies that are coming through right now. I don't want to scare anybody, but that is why it is so uncomfortable. It is to force the break of the structure of these calcified structures, because you've cleared quite a lot throughout the last months, the last years, whether knowingly or unknowingly. I'm realizing that much of this happens on another level outside of our conscious awareness sometimes, where we are actively still, choosing and making choices, but it might not be reaching our physical, mental activity. So you've been doing this for a while, but some of these really, calcified structures breaking down. The antidote or the antithesis of this is this divine feminine intervention almost. It's not even an intervention because this is not a negative thing that's happening. This is actually a good thing. But the counterbalance to that is the softness of the divine feminine, which is within each one of us. And we've talked in prior readings about the sort of, it's probably 2 or 3 twin flame readings ago, we talked about the tribal nature of the feminine, or the feminine tribe sort of coming to the forefront. And this is really what I'm feeling again here, that there is a deep and unconditional love that is also being shared. And the reason I'm back on here today is because of 2 things. One is that sometime in the middle of the night, you know how I'm always talking about how I get a lot of messages when I'm in half awake, half sleep state. And I believe that's because I have a very rigid structure around my mental activity because I have to accomplish so much in a day. So sometimes I push the stuff aside and it starts to come in when my brain is relaxed, right? On a different brainwave. So one of the things that was coming in is one of the issues that I personally am having is fueled by, and it's not an obvious connection, but it is fueled by a need to profoundly forgive myself for putting myself in situations that I was either not equipped to, or was unable to, or I thought I was unable to actually handle on my own. And I kept putting myself in these situations either as a challenge to prove something to myself or as a death wish. Like this, I've done this probably for lifetimes, but I can give you, a dozen or more situations in this lifetime. And so one of the reactions that I'm having to a specific situation now is anger. And I was really having trouble putting the pieces together, but essentially it comes down to me needing to forgive myself. So there is a sense of this kind of enveloping of oneself in forgiveness at this time for whatever way you played into these structures that are now dissolving in, for some of you, a very painful way. For others, it may be more of a cutting back, maybe not a breaking down. There is a lot of breaking down. Okay. I can't help but compare that to Jupiter's entry into Capricorn and the way that Capricorn often represents or does represent structure in society and finance and government, in our own families, in our own belief systems, all of those things. Sagittarius may be belief, but the structure of that can come in from Capricorn, which is right next to it, right? So there's this overlapping in all the signs, at least in my understanding or my feeling. So there's a sense of like honoring the self, forgiving the self, cherishing the self at this time, regardless of what you're going through, seeing your value, that your value, as I posted on my Facebook page the other day, is innate. It does not have to do with what you accomplish or who looks up to you or who looks down on you. There's another saying that what people think of you is none of your business. And I completely agree with that. But this divine feminine energy came in really strong today. Not only because of that moment of forgiveness, I was reminded of a time when I was a kid and my mom and I had a really big fight. And at some point in the night, I was consciously aware of an extremely warm feminine presence that came and wrapped themselves around me. And the warmth was like, I don't know, being covered in like warm honey or something. It was just it ran through my entire body, but it was soft and it was comforting. It was loving. And in my mind, a little girl in Catholic school, I thought it was the Blessed Virgin. And maybe it was, but it was the divine feminine, whatever it was. Maybe it was just my mom. And I And she carried that energy to me that day. And I'm getting emotional about it because it was such a touching and such an important experience, because I did feel so orphaned that day. And that, once I hooked into that feeling this morning, that same feeling, the message came to me that I needed to now reconnect with the grid in Kauai, the island of Hawaii, or in Hawaii, where I went in September, a little bit on a coincidence. I had been called to actually find some kind of retreat or something in Kauai. And I was like, I don't know how this is even going to happen. I don't know where I'm going to find this or whatever. And then one popped up, and I was like, and it was, to work in the akashic records. And I was like, this is so perfect. And it just came together perfectly within about 2 weeks for me. So I went there and I received many, many, many activations while I was there. So I was both there to learn and to get some rest, but also because it was clear that I needed to physically be in that place to receive activations, which is interesting because I'm normally giving the activations. So that in itself was an enormously nurturing experience for me to be able to be in a place where I was more receiving. And perhaps that in itself is a lesson that maybe I need to set myself into more receptive mode more often in all the places that I go. But at the end of the day, I did receive a lot of activations, and I was told this morning to reconnect into that grid. And I pulled in that sort of, and it is a very nurturing, divine feminine energy in that island. I connect into a place beneath the surface. I can't really describe it except for that it's a cavity. It's a cavity beneath the surface. And it's sort of womb-like, to be very honest. And there's a lot of energy, of abundance, of growth, of sort of while I'm talking, if I don't notice. Okay, so if I can have your permission to ask the Lords of the Records, the guides, Source Creator, to send this same divine feminine activation to all of you, whether you're male or female. We all have the divine feminine internally, and we are all being supported in that way through this breakdown of the overly structured, the negative, or the distorted divine masculine within us. If you would like to receive that now, then please say yes out loud. And I'm going to go ahead and connect in. So we be connected in. I'm pulling it through my physical body, and I am sending it out to all of you who are receptive to this energy, all of you for whom it is in your highest and best good to help you align. You may feel it coming in as a very gentle pulse through the crown chakra. You may feel it. That's where I'm feeling it. I'm also feeling it as a grounding force through my calves, my ankles, and the soles of my feet. And there's a widening of the heart chakra here. Sort of red flame in the heart space, connecting into that cavity. And this particular grid on the planet Earth, it's almost like a dimension deeper than being within the mountain, being within the earth there. We're just sending this energy to you now, asking that it be directed wherever it needs to go within you, or in your energy field, that it supports, nurtures, and envelops you in whatever way is appropriate for you now. That it provides the very nurturing support of unconditional love, which is that, I want to say, an almost dark undercurrent, dark not as in negative, but dark as in yin undercurrent, beneath the masculine structures we build for ourselves in order to be effective in our lives. And this supports the continuing standing of those structures which are in alignment with our beings, as those that are not in alignment continue to fall. It supports us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. As the sort of walls come in on all of these stuck, calcified, whatever they mean by that, calcified structures come down. They are showing me the closing gap between Pluto and Saturn, which are currently in Capricorn, and that this is where the Iron Maiden image comes in, that is kind of how these things are being broken down, broken apart right now. That is a major catalyst to what is going on for each one of us right now, in whatever way that it is, wherever you're experiencing it in your life, or wherever you will experience it in your life. It does not have to be massive. It does not have to be devastating. Just know that it's not something to be resisted. I'm still pulling through this divine feminine energy, which is supportive, nourishing, nurturing, cocoon-like. Allow it to be cocoon-like for you. Allow it to support your heart chakra, your heart space, your mental functions, your physical vitality, and your belief in this too shall pass. Still channeling it in. I want to be very clear that just because I am having a lot of difficulty with this right now does not mean you have to or will. Okay? So, everybody is a little different in what they're moving through, even what they came into this life to kind of clear and confront. So just take it day by day. This might be something that is more challenging for me than others. And I want to put that out there as well, so that I don't create. I see a lot of people online creating fear in people, and that is absolutely not what I want to do. So just know that you're being supported in every way that you require it. And if you don't feel supported, then in many cases, it's simply about allowing the support that is there to actually come in, to actually penetrate the calcification. Does that make sense? Okay. So you might continue to feel this energy moving through you, which is great. I'm going to disconnect at this time myself, but you'll continue to receive it as long as it is helpful for you, okay? So I hope that, okay, what else are they giving me here? Okay, so this is patterning your energy, your divine feminine energy, to link in to this grid anytime that you would like. So you can reach this energy again yourself by connecting with the feeling, okay? And if the feeling was not that strong for you, if you are not somebody who experiences things quite like that, just the intention can do it, can put you in contact. And it's I'm just seeing the sacred geometry. There's a geometry that this provides to your feminine energy. And it's just supportive of the changes to come. Okay. So I think what this feels like to me is like a grotto where you can go to drink when needed. All right. So I hope this is helpful, guys. I'm gonna end it here, and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for all of your comments on my last video, your likes and your subscribes and your shares. I appreciate that very much, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.